Good evening, my name is Aleksander Wierzejski and this is the news. The Polish police have confirmed that they have found the body of a Syrian migrant in the border zone with Belarus. The police believe that the man was around 20 years old at the time of his death. Overnight, the Belarusian security services attacked the Polish border guards with tear gas and green lasers. They also tried to destroy the Polish border fence with the help of terrain vehicles.
The police spokesman Tomasz Krupa stated that it was a forest worker who informed the police about finding a corpse of a young man. Before noon, a forest worker informed the police about finding the corpse of a young man. After an inspection, we could confirm that it is the body of a young man of Syrian nationality, around 20 years old. During the inspection, a passport was found. After the inspection by the police, doctors and the prosecutor's office, the cause of death could not be determined with certainty. The prosecutor's office has handed the body over to the forensic pathology unit of the court to find an answer to that question.
Dlatego decyzją prokuratora ciało zostało przekazane do zakładu medycyny sądowej. Speaking
about the large migrant camp that has been erected on the Belarusian side of the border, Krupa stated that there are continued attempts at breaching the border.
Jeżeli chodzi o
Concerning the camps in the immediate proximity to the Kuznica border cross point, we observed a very calm night. Our police forces were present along the borderline the whole time, where unfortunately we met situations in which we were forced to intervene. We met these situations at 1 a.m. at night. We received information from soldiers at the borderline that a group of 100 people gathered on the Belarusian side tried to force down the fence. A few dozen police officers were sent there, as well as border guard forces and soldiers, with a view on the people. The people hid in the depths of the forest and did not come back to our border crossings.
Na widok zarówno funkcjonariuszy policji, ale też funkcjonariuszy Straży Granicznej.
Krupa also stated that the authorities had arrested 3 people for attempted people smuggling.
Russian President Vladimir Putin stated today that Russia has nothing to do with the migrant crisis in Belarus's border with the European Union. Poland's Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki has previously stated that it is clear that Russia is helping Belarus to organize the inflow of African and Middle Eastern migrants to the Polish-Belarusian border.
In comments published on the Kremlin's website, Putin spoke at length about the migration crisis taking place in Belarus. I want everybody to know we have nothing to do with it. Everybody is trying to make us responsible for something at every given opportunity, and without it. Our airlines do not transport those people. Not a single company. By the way, neither does the Belarusian airline nor Belavia, Alexander Lukashenko told me. They book charter flights, visa-free entrance to Belarus. People buy tickets and go. Putin also stated that he hoped the Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko and German Chancellor Angela Merkel would speak directly about the crisis and that the migrants primarily wanted to go to Germany. As I understood, after talks with Alexander Lukashenko and Chancellor Merkel, they are willing to talk to each other. I hope it will happen in the near future and help to establish a direct dialogue between the European Union, leading EU countries, at least Germany and Belarus. This is the most important because the migrants are going to Germany first of all. Russia has long been wanting for Germany to take action that would lead to the removal of EU sanctions on Belarus.
Fabrice Leggeri, the director of the EU border agency Frontex, has stated that the EU must be prepared to face an increase of migrants trying to enter the bloc, with the arrival from many from the Middle East through Belarus set to continue for a long time. He also said that his agency can help Poland in returning migrants who voluntarily want to return to their home countries.
The head of the agency believes that the migration crisis can continue for many months to come.
We see that there is right now tension at the border. I don't see in short term that this risk of huge groups of migrants would disappear. I see that, and we can see from our risk analysis that all the factors that triggered this crisis are still in place, and that things are not moving or things are not de-escalated. So we are not in a de-escalation phase. So we have to be ready to have to face this situation for a long time.
The Polish border guards said over 17,000 illegal attempts to cross the border were made in October, more than double the number of attempts in September. To date, Poland has refused additional support in the form of Frontex border guards, arguing it has a sufficiently large border force of its own to do the job. Frontex could, however, help by providing satellite images and providing assistance in returning migrants back home.
We have daily information from Poland. So Poland shares with us, with Frontex, information about incidents, about risk analysis, about attempts to cross the border, different kind of provocations that are observed. So we know what's going on there. We can provide satellite pictures, so we are working on that, and definitely this is also part of our mandate to provide satellite imagery. And we are ready to support, and we are working on that to see what kind of possibilities we could offer. Our added value right now in the situation that Poland is facing is really in return. And we know that there are now many migrants potentially to be returned to Iraq. We have already a first group of 200 Iraqis to be returned, and we are supporting Poland. We are supporting Poland with voluntary return, and we are also supporting Poland in trying to convince Iraq to accept chartered flights.
The head of Frontex also said he believes that a political decision is needed to figure out what support countries like Poland might need.
The Netherlands returned to a partial lockdown today after the government ordered restaurants and shops to close early and barred spectators from major sporting events in an effort to contain a rapid surge in COVID-19 cases. The decision has sparked protests in the country.
Caretaker Prime Minister Mark Rutte said restrictions that the Dutch people had thought had ended for good were being reimposed for 3 weeks. The outbreak management team advised us to limit the amount of social contacts to the smallest possible terms, and therefore to reduce the amount of infections in a big crackdown for a few weeks, and a very wide-reaching one because the virus is everywhere, in the whole country and among all age groups. Supermarkets and non-essential retailers will also close earlier, and social distancing measures will be reimposed. The government recommended that no more than 4 visitors be received at home, effective immediately. Cafes and nightclubs will have to close at 8 p.m. from Saturday.
Ten derde gaat morgen.
From tomorrow there will be a mandatory closing time for bars, restaurants, shops and everything that falls under the header of non-essential services.
Onder de niet-essentiële dienstverlening.
The government was also exploring ways to restrict access to indoor venues for people who have not been vaccinated, a politically sensitive measure that would require parliamentary approval. New infections topped 16,000 for a second day in a row on Friday, beating the previous record of just under 13,000 confirmed cases in a day set in December last year.
That's the news. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, so please join in.